Was that scary? Well, it's about to get scary up in here, mofos, because you've just stumbled into Kim's Asian corner of hell. Ooh. Here it is, Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. As you know, as true horror fans, we all have our favorites we like to watch in this glorious Halloween season. And hey, as Asian horror fans, we have our favorites too. And so I've got a lineup of some classic Asian horror movies, modern classics, that is, you know, a good starting place if you're curious about Asian horror, never experienced it. These are some good movies to start with, especially now in the Halloween season. Okay, we can't really talk about classic Asian horror without starting with the one that pretty much started it all back in 1998. I'm talking, of course, about Hideo Nakata's Ringu. Yes, Ringu. Of course, everybody probably knows by now the classic story about a cursed videotape. Ironically, all I have is a videotape of it. You watch the tape, you die in 7 days. And of course, there's the whole backstory and the gruesome deaths. And anyway, it's an awesome movie. Very atmospheric, you know, very chilling. The whole thing with Sadako with the long black hair. She was probably the first one we were introduced to. Okay. Oh, also, I wanted to mention Ringu was written by Koji Suzuki. He's known as the Japanese Stephen King, so I thought that was worth mentioning. Okay, moving right along. Now, the next movie I'm going to talk about isn't scary, but it's very horrifying, and it's one of my favorite movies of any genre. I'm talking about, of course, Takashi Miike's Audition. Yes. Kitty, 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 kitty. Yeah, the mating call of the very beautiful but very psychotic Asami. Yeah. As you know, the basic story, most of you probably know, the basic story is about a lonely widower who holds sort of a fake audition trying to find a new wife. And it's supposed to be an audition for a movie, and he meets the beautiful Asami, and they start a courtship, and then he finds out she's not so much the girl of his dreams as the girl of his worst nightmare. Yeah. Okay, Audition. Deserves a lot more to be said about it, but I've got quite a few movies to talk about it, so we're moving right along. You can't really talk about classic Asian horror without talking about Ju-on, Takashi Shimizu's Ju-on. That came out in 2003. Audition came out in 1999. I forgot to mention that. Sorry. Anyway, the story of Ju-on. See, there's the little fella Toshio. Very, very scary, very effective little scary movie. I say little, the whole thing was shot inside of a real Japanese house, very small Japanese house, kind of added to a claustrophobic effect. It's just one really good spook house of a movie. Of course, the story is the father of the family goes nuts, kills his wife, kills his kid, kills the cat, and now the house is cursed. Anybody that steps foot in the house, they are screwed, because Kayako will follow them. That's the murdered woman. That's who I'm sort of paying homage to tonight. Her boy will follow you, and the husband, he doesn't do so much anymore in death. A little, but not too much. I always liked Ju-on. I mean, what can you say about Kayako. She's the most frightening thing about it, with her wide staring eyes and her jerky movements, and she's all blood covered and just relentless. She's scarier than the boy. The boy's kind of, he's on the cover and everything. Sometimes, but he's pretty chilling too. Sometimes he appears as a regular boy, then he's this pale ghost, screaming like a cat. It's awesome. Okay. Also in 2003, Shimizu-san followed up Ju-on with Ju-on 2. And I believe this deserves very special mention. A lot of sequels don't, but this one really does. Because, believe it or not, it is way more frightening than the first Ju-on. The first Ju-on, everything that was effective about it was like magnified for Ju-on 2. The sound effects, wonderfully scary sound effects. Of course there's the crow, and then, but there's these other noises that sort of remind me of the Evil Dead demon noises, but not quite as loud, more subtle, more frightening. Anyway, Ju-on 2, very, very frightening. I'm not even going to go into it. I'll just say that the scenes were done extremely well. The build-ups are good. Okay, moving along again to, well, it says Pulse, but the real title is Cairo. And of course, it got the Hollywood remake treatment. But Cairo came out in 2001, and the story is about how all over Japan, well, it focuses on a group of different people, but the whole gist of it is that all over Japan and probably all over the world, people are disappearing or committing suicide, and all these spirits are coming through on computers and cell phones and whatnot. And anyway, this movie also very atmospheric. It has some of the scariest, creepiest, I guess you'd say, looking ghosts I've ever seen. And it has a really bleak, apocalyptic feel to it. Pulse. Check it out. Check it out before you check out the Hollywood remake. Or if you've already checked out the remake, you should try it again. Whatever. Okay. Moving right along, the last box I have in the lineup is for a very, very creepy, scary, classic Korean film by Kim Ji-woon. Okay? And this is A Tale of Two Sisters. Yeah, classic ghost story. Ghost story with some twist to it. See, when did that come out? That came out in 2003, same year as Ju-on. It's about these two sisters. They just got back from a mental institution, and they're greeted by their stepmother, who you can tell there's some bad blood there, and so they have this dysfunctional family life that they're coming home to, but they're also coming home to some ghosts, spirits, and there's several really, really awesome twists in this movie that keep things going. The tale is gothic, very dark, and very touching too, actually. Highly recommend all of these. There's a few others on my list I want to talk about briefly that unfortunately I don't have DVDs of. One of them is The Eye. That's a Chinese movie from the Pang brothers, Danny and Oxide Pang. And basic stories about a blind girl who finally gets a cornea transplant, and instead of just seeing the world around her, that's all she wanted, she's starting to see dead people. They're everywhere and they want her attention, and very scary. First half of the movie, very scary, very effective, and then you get to the last half of the movie, and it's more really touching. I mean, I think in my written review I said I've never had a horror movie that will scare the crap out of me the first half and make me want to cry the next. But that was The Eye. One moment. Okay, moving right along. I'm saving, I guess, the very best for last, and it's unfortunate I don't have my own copy. But I am talking about, also by Hideo Nakata, who brought us Ringu, he also brought us Dark Water in 2002. Much better film in my opinion. If you've seen the Hollywood remake, please forget about it. Just don't even think about it. Same basic story. Woman going through a divorce, and her young daughter move into this old dilapidated apartment building where there's leaks and whatnot. And it doesn't sound like it would be that scary, but it is. There's the whole movie is just one build-up after another. And I think in my written review I said something like, okay, whatever. I think in my written review I said something to the effect of it was a shining example of just how good Asian horror can be, and it really is, because it's got everything. The build-up is just the suspense, the creepiness. You're creeped out all through it, and then boom, very very explosive. I don't know. Are you hearing noises? I'm hearing noises in here. It needs to stop. Okay, anyway, with Dark Water, you get awesome scares. I mean, there's by the time the big scare hits you, you don't realize just how nervous you were. So anyway, that's my wrap up. There's lots of great Asian horror goodness out there. But these are some really good movies to start with. So I'll be watching them on Halloween or around Halloween, and I hope y'all check some of them out too. And also be sure to check out The Creepy Kentuckian and Uncle Bill over at Deadpit.com. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. That was my daughter, everybody. Very scary. Okay, bye. Happy Halloween. And remember, leave Brittany alone, you bastards.